Evergy is going to raise your utility rates 10% over the next 6 years. And they're hoping that you're too busy, too tired, too lazy, or too stupid to stop them from giving all of your bill money to their investors. And if you're just sitting there, phone in hand, and you haven't done anything about it yet, are they wrong? I'm just kidding, guys. This is real life. There are no good guys and bad guys. For the most part, people aren't evil. Although, Evergy really does want you to pay for their next infrastructure expansion so that it doesn't eat into their profits. Because if you didn't pay for this new infrastructure, their investors might get a little antsy. And when investors get antsy, they tend to want to sell their stocks. And if that starts a trend and Evergy's stock starts going down, people are going to ask, why is Evergy's stock falling? Are they failing as a company? No, they're not. Evergy makes an enormous profit every single year. They are a natural monopoly with a captured consumer base. Legally, they're not going to not profit. It's basically written into law that we have to make sure that they profit as a company. But how they profit is where the discussion gets interesting. Hi, my name's Jonathan Smith, JD if you know me, and I follow climate and energy policy for Topeka, Shawnee County, and the greater Kansas area if I'm not too busy. See, what you have to understand is Evergy's executive board, the people that make these decisions, they're incentivized by getting more people to invest in Evergy. So what they're going to keep doing is pushing forward projects that reward their investors, not the ratepayers, not you and me, which means they're going to put forth projects that will guarantee increased dividends for their investors unless you say otherwise. So Evergy aren't exactly bad people, they're just motivated by something different than what we're motivated by. I mean, your definition of a bad person might differ from mine or somebody else's, but all I'm saying is that Evergy is motivated to keep their investors happy, whereas the Kansas Corporation Commission, their job is to make sure that we as the ratepayers are happy. And they're not going to know that we're not happy unless we tell them. The only way to do that is to provide comment to the Kansas Corporation Commission. I'll tell you how to do that in a minute, but first, let's talk about the project. Today, we are tackling the upcoming Evergy rate increase case currently working its way through the Kansas Corporation Commission. What is it? What can we do about it? Let's talk about it. Evergy wants to build 2 new methane gas plants and a solar farm over the next 6 years, and their plan is to have customers pay for it while it is being built. If you're an Evergy customer, this means you. If you are an Evergy customer, your rates will continually increase over those 6 years, starting at about 1%, topping out at around 9%. If that's all you need to hear, there should be a link just up above me and a QR code that'll take you to where you can digitally give your written comment to the Kansas Corporation Commission. Or, if you want to do things old school, you can physically mail in your public comment to the address listed above. I'll give you a moment here to write that down, or you can just pause it. Or you could straight up make a video like this one. Although you don't need to edit it or anything like that. Using the software Jog, they'll be able to transcribe your words into a public comment for you. And if you are watching this on Jog, there should be a button off to the side somewhere that'll show you how to upload a video or just straight up record a video if you're on your phone. Real quick, these are your deadlines for submitting comment to the Kansas Corporation Commission, as well as a timeline for how the case is going to play out over the next month or so. And if you find yourself needing more information, let's get into it. You might be thinking, don't electric utility companies have to build power plants over time anyway, so what's the problem? The problem is that, one, if the Kansas Corporation Commission gives this the green light, that means the whole bill until they are built. Ideally, they would only cost what they're estimating it's going to cost. But if they are anything like other recent plants, the original cost might not end up being the true cost. Let's dive deeper. For 2, the construction of these gas plants might be slowed down by the rapid influx of other gas plants across the United States. This would limit the amount of construction crews working on this specific construction project if they're working on all these other plants across the United States. There's only so many crews that know how to build a gas plant. And if there is a rapid influx of gas plants across the United States for some reason, this would slow down the project, ultimately lengthening the project and increasing the cost of construction. And who's going to pay for those increased construction costs when the project gets lengthened out for years and years and years? That's right, us, baby. That's if this KCC agreement goes through. Let's say for 3, maybe, for some reason, gas prices don't stay as wildly low as they are currently right now. Maybe an enormous increase in gas facilities across the entirety of the United States might increase the demand for natural gas. An increase in demand in natural gas is going to drive up the price of natural gas. And I wonder who would be shouldering the burden of an increased cost of natural gas years down the line. Us, once more. You already know, it's gotta be us. And sometimes, the cost of natural gas skyrockets so high, like it did in 2022, that we have to pay years and years. As the ratepayer, me and you have to pay for gas for years to pay off a sudden, rapid influx of natural gas price. A problem that Evergy doesn't need to worry about because we shoulder that burden. This is before we even get into the cost analysis of a gas plant versus renewable energy facilities. This is before we even talk about the terrible downstream effects of not sunsetting fossil fuel use, or even how climate change, which is almost directly impacted by the amount and quantity of fossil fuel use, is just going to exacerbate over time. It's just going to get worse. Climate change is going to become more volatile over time the more fossil fuels we use, and when we have even hotter summers and even colder winters, who's going to have to pay for that increased demand in natural gas? Us again. So yeah, Evergy is incentivized to build natural gas plants because it's really easy to recoup their costs. They're cheaper to make than nuclear by a long shot, they're a little bit cleaner than coal by a little, and price fluctuations in the natural gas market can be shouldered by us. And it's much harder to sell infrastructure repairs to be shouldered by the ratepayers. Let's say we have to rewire some solar panels. That's probably going to fall on Evergy. But if natural gas prices spike, that's probably going to be on us. But what I need from you is to provide comment. Tell the Kansas Corporation that this is a bad deal for ratepayers. We do not want this. We do not want to shoulder the burden of the construction of these plants so that investors don't have to shoulder that burden. We cannot afford any more rate increases, especially when Evergy just broke another record in profits, largely driven by their previous rate increase. It is totally within Evergy's power legally to charge us for the construction of these plants. What you need to tell the Kansas Corporation Commission is that this isn't an appropriate use of our monies. We would rather our funds go toward renewable energy technologies, bolstering the grid, making things more efficient, solar facilities, wind facilities. Adding additional gas plants is just going to cause more infrastructure and more pain down the line. This is not a judicious use of our ratepayer dollars. My name is Jonathan Smith. Please submit comment today.